Suburbia is a performance. That's what I've learned. Your lawn's not just grass, it's a personality test. Your mailbox? A passive-aggressive statement. And your wife's monthly book club? Well, turns out that's a whole damn genre. Now, I'm not a jealous guy. Never have been. I've been married to Erica for 14 years, which, in suburban years, is basically a golden anniversary. We've got the usual stuff, a 3-bedroom ranch with granite countertops, a neurotic golden doodle named Murphy, and a teenager who only speaks in sarcasm and mozzarella stick requests. And like most men in my zip code, I thought everything was fine, or at least suburban fine. You know the type. She posts our anniversary dinner on Facebook with heart emojis. I grill steaks on weekends. We complain about rising HOA fees, then pay them anyway. We make small talk at block parties and big talk in therapy. It's a system. And for the most part, I was fine with the system. Until Erica joined the book club. At first, it was harmless. She said it gave her a sense of identity outside motherhood. I clapped for that. Literally. I even offered to buy extra wine for her hosting nights. I vacuumed the guest bathroom without being asked. I even pretended to care about the secret life of bees. But then, something shifted. It started with the quotes. Not just casual lines, intense ones. Passionate ones. Delivered while she chopped onions or sipped coffee with this faraway look in her eye. The heart has reasons that reason knows nothing of, she murmured one morning while spreading jam on toast. What? I asked. Pascal, she said. We're reading Anna Karenina. Right. Then it was, the call of desire must be answered, even when the consequences are grave. That one came during dinner with our friends Todd and Jen. Todd blinked. What book is that from? Erica smiled. Oh, just a theme we're exploring. She said theme like it was a secret password. I didn't press. I figured, hey, middle-aged moms need drama too. Better literary than real, right? Wrong. See, when someone starts romanticizing self-destruction during taco night, that's usually a red flag. I just didn't see it yet. But I noticed other things. Erica started dressing differently on club nights. Not wildly different, just curated. High boots. A silk scarf. Perfume. Not the fresh linen kind she wears to work. The late-night jazz bar with betrayal on the rocks kind. And she never brought books home. Never left them out. Her tote bag was always zipped. Always. But the real clue? I tried to joke about joining once. We were brushing our teeth. You think they'd let me in? I could argue for Gatsby's moral ambiguity. She didn't laugh. She just spat, wiped her mouth, and said, it's a women-only space. We need to feel safe. Safe. Right. I dropped it. But I didn't forget it. Especially after the 3rd month in a row when she came home from book club looking flushed. Not sweaty. Not messy. Just tilted. Like something had been knocked loose and hadn't quite settled back. That's when I started paying attention. We live in a neighborhood called Bramble Glen, which sounds like a gentle hiking trail but is really just 40 identical homes pretending not to spy on each other. Every month, the book club rotated houses. Supposedly. I checked the group chat once, yes, we have one, because suburbia requires constant documentation, and noticed something strange. The last 3 meetings had all been hosted by Nina. Nina is the one with the lakehouse. Now, calling it a lakehouse is generous. It's technically a second home on a man-made lake with 3 paddle boats and a deck that screams wine mom crime thriller. But it's private. Tucked into a cul-de-sac just past the neighborhood's outer edge. No streetlights. No sidewalks. Just still water and dark trees. And no books, apparently. Because one Tuesday night, while Erica was discussing The Awakening, I drove past the lakehouse. Lights were on. Music playing. candles lit inside. But what caught my eye? The backyard fire pit. There were 5 chairs around it. No books. Just wine glasses. One woman was barefoot, twirling in place like she'd just won a custody battle. Another was sitting on a man's lap. A man. Not Nina's husband. Not anyone's husband I recognized. And not a single paperback in sight. I didn't stop. Just kept driving. But my hands gripped the wheel tight the whole way home. Erica came in an hour later, smelling like wood smoke and something sweeter. She kissed me on the cheek. Said, "We're reading Wuthering Heights next." Except I'd seen the book club calendar on Nina's Facebook post. They'd finished Wuthering Heights last month. So I smiled. And said, "Can't wait to hear about it." I didn't confront her. Not yet. You only get one first move in chess. Instead, I made a plan. I waited 2 weeks. Let her keep quoting forbidden love and societal constraints on female desire at brunch like she was auditioning for an NPR segment. Then I went shopping. Beige hoodie. Aviator sunglasses. Ball cap with an out-of-state logo. Add in a mask, still totally acceptable in public, and I was invisible. The night of the next book club, I told her I was heading to the gym. Instead, I parked 2 blocks from Nina's lakehouse, cut through someone's side yard, and hid behind a split rail fence with a line of pine trees just wide enough for shadows. And what I saw wasn't Tolstoy. There were 6 of them. Erica included. Laughing. Drinking. One of them in a full recline on a lounge chair while a guy, again, not her husband, rubbed her feet. And my wife? Erica was in a sundress. Hair down. Sitting on the armrest of a chair next to a guy with salt and pepper hair and a stupid tribal tattoo peeking out from his t-shirt sleeve. She leaned in. He whispered something. She laughed. Then kissed him. Not a peck. Not a joke. A real one. With hands. I didn't take pictures. Not yet. I wanted to see more. Because the book club wasn't just cheating. It was organized. Routine. Expected. And they thought no one was watching. But I was. And next month? We had our annual Bramble Glen block party. With a big projection screen for the community slideshow. Guess who was on the planning committee? Me. Time to dust off the old DSLR. Let's get something clear, I didn't want to be a villain. I wanted to be a husband. A father. The guy who fixes the garbage disposal and nods politely when someone brings up kombucha at the HOA meeting. But the moment your wife kisses another man at a book club hosted by the neighborhood's most unbothered divorcee, the script changes. You stop being the nice guy. You become the one with a folder full of evidence and nothing left to lose. And in my case? I had more than a folder. I had access. See, while Erica was out finding herself between pages that no one was actually reading, I was volunteering. I signed up for the Bramble Glen Block Party Planning Committee, or, as I now call it, the front row seat to suburban delusion. It was chaired by Lindsay Harper, a woman who wore yoga pants to everything and said literally more than any human should. Her entire identity was event energy, which is code for obsessed with appearances, allergic to confrontation. Perfect. Our first meeting was at her house. We talked about tent rentals, food trucks, bounce houses, and here it was, the annual neighborhood slideshow. This slideshow was a long-standing Bramble Glen tradition. Every year, they collected community photos, barbecues, pool parties, bake sales, softball games, and projected them during the final hour of the block party. Families would sit on folding chairs with plastic wine cups and watch themselves smiling in grainy iPhone photos while someone's Bluetooth speaker played Coldplay. It was cringe. But it was ritual. And this year? I volunteered to run it. I've got editing software, I said. Happy to handle it. Lindsay smiled like I'd offered to carry her through a burning building. You're a lifesaver, Greg. Damn right I was. Back home, I made a new folder on my desktop. I named it Community Enrichment. Inside, I started collecting. Not just the pictures from the book club night I'd already seen, no, I wasn't that lazy. I went full sleuth. Over the next few weeks, I faked a sprained ankle so I could walk Murphy slow around the lakehouse on nights the club met. I'd pause just long enough to angle my phone between fence posts. My camera roll turned into a suburban exposé. There were patterns. Repeated guests. Repeated hookups. Nina always poured the wine. Erica always sat beside the same guy, Wes Jameson. Wes was the kind of guy who made middle-aged infidelity look like a lifestyle choice. Tall. Silver beard. Polo shirts that hugged his biceps. Divorced. Real estate consultant. Drove a black SUV and used words like mindful and intention while checking out your wife. And he was in at least 7 photos with Erica touching her waist, her shoulder, her hand. In one shot, she was sitting on the railing of the deck with his hand on her thigh. I didn't shake. I didn't cry. I just kept snapping. Because I knew how this ended. Erica didn't suspect a thing. She still quoted novels at dinner. Still called it book club and told me I wouldn't get it. She even posted a picture of actual books stacked artfully on our kitchen counter, a stack I recognized from a Pinterest photo dated 2019. Performance. All of it. The more I watched, the more I realized she wasn't trying to hide it. She was trying to reframe it. She was the liberated wife. The intellectual adulterer. The one who read the bell jar and decided monogamy was an outdated contract. And I was the footnote. So I smiled. And planned. Block party week arrived. Our driveway was a war zone of folding chairs, citronella candles, and patriotic string lights. Erica was busy organizing the dessert table theme. I offered to run to Costco for cupcakes just to buy time. In my trunk? A USB drive. On that drive? The slideshow. It started innocently enough: pool days, dog parks, cookouts. Normal stuff. Then came a fun at the lake segment. Mixed in with real family kayaking pics and kids with s'mores? Came the club shots. But subtly. No text. Just inserted. Wes and Erica on the railing. A woman in a sundress, Nina, pouring a suspicious amount of rose into a man's lap. Another shot of Erica leaning into Wes, lips dangerously close. All time-stamped. All crystal clear. All arranged right after a cute photo of Lindsay's kid eating corn on the cob. I'd timed it down to the second. The projection screen would go up at 7:45 p.m. By 7:57, the lakehouse photos would hit. I even embedded a soft fade-in so it didn't feel jarring. I wanted whispers, not shouts. That subtle horror that creeps in when the audience realizes, wait, was that? The HOA president would be there too. Wes's wife. Oh yeah, forgot to mention, Wes was married. His wife, Claire, ran the HOA like a Senate majority leader. She wore linen suits, had a whistle on her keychain, and once wrote a 5-paragraph letter about someone's inappropriate seasonal gnome display. She also had no idea her husband was playing book club bingo with half the cul-de-sac. She'd know soon. The night arrived. Everyone gathered at the cul-de-sac's end. Lawn chairs. Plastic cups. Kids with glow sticks. Erica wore a white off-the-shoulder top and that same perfume, the one that smelled like secrets with a vanilla base. Excited, she asked. I smiled. Always. She kissed me on the cheek like I was a routine. At 7:40, I plugged in the laptop. The slideshow began. People cheered at the first few shots: kids with sparklers, a puppy in a bucket hat, someone cannonballing into Nina's pool. I stood at the projector, sipping lemonade, watching faces. 7:55 p.m. The lake photos began. Lindsay let out an ah at the first one, Nina clinking glasses with another woman. Then came the Wes and Erica photo. Someone gasped. A beat later, "Wait, is that?" Another woman whispered, "That's not her husband." Murphy barked somewhere in the distance, like he knew drama was in the air. Claire stood up. Slowly. She was holding a cup of white wine. Staring at the screen. The next slide hit Erica on Wes's lap. I didn't blink. Claire didn't either. Then the final image, Erica and Wes on the dock, her hand on his chest, laughing at something we'd never hear. The screen paused. Silence. Then Claire turned. Walked straight up to Erica. Erica smiled, reflexively, confused. Claire didn't speak. She slapped her. Once. Open-handed. No warning. Gasps everywhere. Someone's phone hit the ground. Erica stood frozen, hand to her cheek. Claire walked off. Calm. Not a word. And Wes? Wes had already disappeared into the crowd like a coward on fire. I waited until the slideshow ended. Unplugged the USB. Walked back to Erica, still holding her cheek like she was trying to rewind time. She looked at me. Eyes wide. You did that, she whispered. I looked around at the neighbors whispering, at the kids being corralled away, at Lindsay frantically asking someone to please play music or something. Then I looked back at Erica. I curated it, I said. It's different. Suburbs are like snow globes. They look pristine from the outside, perfectly staged lawns, symmetrical shutters, labradoodles that poop in patterns. But shake them up, and what you get isn't magic. It's chaos. Spiraling, floating, unfiltered chaos. The night after the block party, Bramble Glen was mid-snowstorm. You could feel it in the silence. Usually, Saturday mornings meant mimosas on Nina's deck, toddlers in sun hats waddling through sprinklers, and joggers pretending they weren't also gossip couriers. But that morning? Dead quiet. No strollers. No chatter. Just wind chimes and shame. I took Murphy out for a walk at 7 a.m., same path I always took. Same poop bag loop. Only this time, I passed 8 houses and saw 2 people. And both of them pretended they didn't see me. I was radioactive now. So was Erica. But only one of us deserved it. She stayed in bed that morning, curled under the duvet like it was some kind of forgiveness blanket. We hadn't spoken since the slap. She came home an hour after me, parked in the driveway for 30 minutes before coming in, then went straight upstairs. She knew. And that was enough. I didn't plan for the slap. Claire delivered that on her own. But I wasn't mad about it either. In fact, it sped things up. Because Sunday evening, I got an email. Subject line, HOA Community Conduct Violation Notice. The sender? Bramble Glen HOA Board. But really, we all knew what that meant. Claire. The body of the email was short. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Martin. It has come to our attention that a recent public event included behavior inconsistent with the Bramble Glen community values and HOA guidelines, particularly surrounding respect, discretion, and integrity. As a result, and per HOA bylaws, Section 3.6a, the following actions are being taken. Erica Martin is temporarily suspended from participation in all HOA-sponsored events and gatherings for a period of 6 months, effective immediately. Should further violations occur, a formal board review will determine whether permanent restrictions are necessary. We thank you for your understanding and discretion moving forward. Sincerely, the Bramble Glen HOA Board. 6 months. Publicly iced. I reread it twice. Then walked upstairs. Erica was in bed, scrolling her phone. Probably trying to preemptively explain the scandal to her high school classmates before they saw the block party photos on someone's Instagram story. I stood in the doorway and said, "You've been banned." She looked up. What? I tossed her my phone with the email open. She read it. Blinked. Scoffed. She can't do that. I didn't break any rules. I raised an eyebrow. You sure about that? She slapped me in public, Greg. After seeing you kiss her husband. She has no proof that was me. I paused. Are you actually trying to deny it? I'm saying Claire's acting out of personal vengeance, not official policy. She's abusing her position. I let her talk. That's the thing about people like Erica, the more rope you give them, the more decorative knots they tie around their own alibi. Maybe I'll appeal, she said. I smirked. To who? The board she runs? Silence. She looked down. For once, she didn't have a quote to hide behind. That week, I started getting nods. Not from the book club wives, most of them were scrambling, trying to separate themselves from the blast radius. Nina took down all her party photos from social. Heather deleted her books and wine forever Pinterest board. One woman, Marcy, actually posted a story about how she was rethinking communal friendships. Please. But the husbands? They nodded. Quietly. Subtly. At the mailboxes. By the trash bins. Even Todd, the guy with the Tesla and the marriage therapist on speed dial, gave me a firm clap on the shoulder and said, "Hell of a slideshow, man." It wasn't support exactly. It was respect. And in this zip code? That's better than therapy. Wednesday night, Erica finally broke. We were cleaning up after dinner, she was silent. I was humming some old Dire Straits song when she turned off the sink and said, "How long have you known?" I didn't pretend. Didn't stall. About 2 months. She paused. Why didn't you say anything? I dried my hands. Because you were quoting the Scarlet Letter at breakfast like it was a TED Talk. Because every time I tried to talk, you performed. And because I wanted you to see it. See what? What everyone else saw. On that screen. No spin. No filter. Just you. Him. And the silence between. She didn't cry. She just leaned on the counter, arms folded, like a prosecutor about to cross-examine. You humiliated me. I tilted my head. No. You did. I just provided the projector. She opened her mouth to say something, then closed it. Walked upstairs. Slammed the door. Friday, the fallout hit Wes. Claire served him papers. I found out through Lindsay, who texted me a screenshot of the court filing like it was a tabloid leak. Holy crap, Claire's not playing. No. She wasn't. And when I checked Zillow that afternoon, Wes's lakefront listing was live. 3 beds, 2 baths, 1 very cursed fire pit. By Sunday, Claire invited me to coffee. Not Erica. Me. We met at this bougie little cafe near the strip mall, the kind that sells matcha lattes in compostable gilt. She showed up in a blazer. Of course. I just wanted to say, she said, sitting down, that I appreciated how measured you were. I blinked. You mean passive-aggressive? She smiled. No. I mean precise. We talked for 30 minutes. She never once asked for details. Never demanded receipts. She didn't need them. She saw the footage. She knew. At the end, she handed me a note. An official HOA memo. Effective immediately. Erica Martin's temporary suspension is now permanent. She is no longer eligible for leadership positions or event planning committees within Bramble Glen. Due to repeated violations of conduct standards and community trust. I folded it and tucked it into my jacket. Claire stood. Oh, and Greg? Yeah. Nice fade in on the slideshow. Erica didn't ask me where I went that day. Didn't ask about the HOA decision either. She knew the tide had turned. We weren't married anymore. Not really. We were just co-inhabiting. waiting for the right moment to divide the yard lines. But the funny part? She still kept going to book club. Alone. Pretending. Because if there's one thing Erica hates more than being exposed, it's being excluded. There's a special kind of silence that follows public humiliation. It's not peaceful. It's not healing. It's vacuumed. Like someone took all the oxygen out of the room, and every sound feels forced. That's what it was like living with Erica now, quiet, breathless, and flat. And honestly, I didn't mind it. No more quotes. No more themes. No more sighs over dinner like I was a plot she regretted. Just silence. For the first time in months, I actually enjoyed coming home. Murphy and I would hit the trails after work. I'd make dinner for 1.5 people, our teenage son was still in his mozzarella stick era, and I'd eat alone while Erica stayed upstairs like a ghost with Wi-Fi. The funny part? She still hadn't said she was sorry. Not once. Not in a real way. She'd said things like, I didn't mean for it to get that far, and it was complicated, and my personal favorite, you made me feel invisible. Sure, Erica. I made you feel invisible while you were giving lakehouse lap dances in full view of the HOA. But hey, go off. Week 3 after the block party, I saw Wes at the grocery store. I was in the freezer aisle, debating between chicken pot pies and the sad bachelor stir-fry bag, when he appeared behind me like mildew. Greg. I didn't turn around. He walked up anyway, carrying a 6-pack of IPA and a face full of shame. Look, man. I just want to say. I turned, finally, and cut him off. You're talking. He blinked. That's your first mistake, I said. You don't get to talk. Look, I know what I did was wrong. Erica and we never meant to hurt anyone. That's funny, I said. Because she hurt everyone. And you just tagged along like a bad subplot. He tried again. Claire's taking the house. I'm moving out this week. I nodded once. Good. There was a pause. He looked like he wanted a hug. Or forgiveness. He got neither. I picked the pot pies and walked away. Back home, Erica was sitting on the porch, something she hadn't done in weeks. She looked normal. No makeup, hair tied back, hoodie and yoga pants like the old days. Hey, she said as I walked up. I nodded. Hey. She stood. Can we talk? I sighed. Depends. Is this going to end with you quoting The English Patient again? She didn't laugh. She just stared. I gave in. We sat. She spoke first. I miss what we had. I looked at her. No, you don't. You miss not being embarrassed. That's not fair. It's accurate. She tried again. I lost everything. My friends. My standing. The club. You lost those the moment you made your choice. The slideshow just told everyone else. She bit her lip. I made a mistake. No, I said, leaning in. You made a series of decisions. You covered them in perfume and quotes in candlelight and called it self-discovery. She looked away. What do you want from me, Greg? And that's when I said it. Nothing. That's the point. 2 days later, I scheduled a consultation with a divorce attorney. Not a dramatic move. Not a threat. Just a step. I didn't tell her. Yet. Instead, I told our son, Mason. We were in the garage. He was helping me hang bikes we never used. Hey, I said. I might be moving out. Or she might be. He didn't stop working. Just nodded. Okay. You okay with that? Another nod. I figured it was coming, he said. She's been weird for months. Kids always know. I ruffled his hair. He didn't flinch. Small wins. That weekend, I got an unexpected knock at the door. It was Claire. She looked different. Relaxed. Lighter. Like someone who just exorcised a demon and gotten the house in the settlement. "I thought you'd want this," she said, handing me a manila envelope. Inside? HOA bylaws. But not just any bylaws. Proposed amendments. Turns out, Claire had rallied the board to add new community values clauses. And the first draft? Section 7.3, Moral Turpitude Clause. Any member found engaging in conduct that publicly disgraces or endangers the community's cohesion, including but not limited to extramarital affairs exposed via public HOA-sponsored events, may be subject to social suspension, committee removal, and community service requirements. Community service. For cheating. I chuckled. "You're not playing." She smiled. "Nope." I paused. "Why give this to me?" She shrugged. "You started the war. I figured you deserved the peace treaty draft." She walked off. Power blazer in the wind. Claire was scary. And I kind of admired it. Erica, however, did not admire it. She found the draft bylaws on the counter the next morning. I heard her scoff. "This is medieval." "No," I said, sipping coffee. "It's suburban. You're enjoying this." I met her eyes. "I didn't enjoy any of this. But I'm not going to apologize for finally being seen." She went quiet. And I finally understood something. Erica never thought she'd be caught. Not because she was careful. Because she believed no one would dare call her out. She thought her charm, her intellect, her curated life would shield her. But charm doesn't pay alimony. And intellect doesn't beat screenshots. Monday morning, I served her the papers. She didn't yell. Didn't cry. Just read them. Slowly. Then she said, "You timed this?" "Yep." "Why now?" "Because I gave you 3 weeks," I said. "To say sorry. To mean it. To act like a human being." "And if I had?" I shrugged. "I still would have left. But I might have respected you." She nodded. Folded the papers. Walked upstairs. She didn't come down for dinner. Mason and I ordered pizza and watched Die Hard instead. Murphy farted on the couch. It was the most peace I'd felt in months. Later that night, I took out the trash. The air was crisp. Quiet. I looked across the street, Nina's house. All the lights were off. Then I looked at Claire's place. Her blinds were open. She was sipping wine. Reading a book. She looked up. Saw me. Raised her glass. I raised mine back, a can of ginger ale. Didn't matter. The message was clear. In Bramble Glen, power wasn't just about positions. It was about proof. And I'd delivered it. You'd think getting served divorce papers would humble a person. Make them reflect. Regret. Apologize, maybe. But Erica? Erica went full campaign mode. It started subtle. Passive-aggressive domestic diplomacy. She cleaned. A lot. Started unloading the dishwasher again, humming old 90s songs like we were in a Target commercial. Left baked goods on the counter with sticky notes that said things like "for the boys," as if Mason and I were an outreach program she was trying to win over. She wore makeup to vacuum. Wore perfume to check the mail. Started playing Fleetwood Mac while cooking like she thought Stevie Nicks could save her marriage. She was trying to rewrite the narrative. Not the truth. The perception. Because that's what Erica really cared about, not what she did, but how she looked after doing it. Unfortunately for her, I wasn't playing that game anymore. I'd already folded the board and walked away. And that, more than anything, drove her nuts. About a week after I served the papers, she sat me down. The kitchen. Saturday morning. Coffee brewing. Sunlight hitting just right, like she planned it. I want to try counseling, she said. I blinked. For what? Conflict resolution or post-mortem damage control? She flinched. Greg, come on. No, really. What would we talk about in therapy? How you curated infidelity like a Pinterest board. Her voice sharpened. People make mistakes. No. People make choices. Repeatedly. I didn't do it to hurt you. Funny how you managed it anyway. She exhaled. You're not perfect either, Greg. I leaned back. Oh, trust me. I know. But I didn't cheat. I didn't lie. I didn't spend 6 months quoting Madame Bovary while treating my husband like a character flaw. Silence. She stared at the table. I thought we'd built more than this, she said. We did. You just sold your half for wine and lake views. Then I got up. Took my coffee. Left her sitting there. No yelling. No scene. Just truth, like a razor left on the counter. The next escalation came in the form of Nina. Yep. Lakehouse Nina. She texted me. Nina. Hey Greg. I know this is weird. But Erica's hurting. Can we talk? I didn't respond. The next day, she called. Straight to voicemail. Then Erica stormed into the living room that night with a face full of theater. You're ignoring my friends now? Your friends, I said, are co-conspirators. She was trying to help. Help who? Me? By giving me PTSD every time someone opens a bottle of rose? That shut her up. But I saw the flicker in her eyes. This wasn't about fixing anything. It was about image rehab. She wanted a redemption arc. 2 days later, I caught her staging photos. Literally. She'd set up the dining table with a stack of novels, a tea set, and a fake journal with a quote on the cover, Rise Strong. She angled the window blinds for the best natural light, lit a candle, then snapped a dozen pictures on her phone. I watched from the hallway. Didn't say a word. She posted the photo that afternoon with the caption. Healing isn't linear, but literature helps. Hashtag self-work, hashtag book club vibes, hashtag moving forward. Book club vibes. Amazing. The club was dead, Claire had burned her bridge, and Wes was probably halfway to Albuquerque with a Realtor.com subscription. But sure, post some rupee core next to your matcha and pretend it was a poetry circle all along. But the real play came the next Friday. Mason was at a friend's. I was working late. Erica was going out. Didn't say where. Didn't offer. So I checked. No, I didn't stalk her. I didn't need to. We still shared the Apple Calendar. Her event? Community outreach wine and wellness night. Location? Claire's house. I laughed out loud. Because if Erica was showing up to Claire's house after everything? That wasn't bravery. That was desperation with a splash of Chardonnay. So I waited. And sure enough, 2 hours later, I get a text. From Claire. Claire. She tried to speak. I shut her down. Just FYI. I replied with a thumbs up emoji. Then poured myself a scotch and watched The Godfather. Peace. At last. The next morning, Erica was quiet. Not tense, not angry, just embarrassed. She didn't bring it up. Didn't mention the wine night. Didn't try to justify it. Just made toast and disappeared into her office. Which, in hindsight, should have been the red flag. Because Sunday morning? The real move landed. I got a call from Mason's school counselor. Now, you know that cold flush that hits when your phone buzzes with an unexpected number at 9 a.m. on a weekend? Yeah. That. The counselor, Mrs. Price, said she just wanted to check in about Mason. Apparently, someone had called and expressed concern over recent family instability and its emotional impact. Said Mason seemed withdrawn. That someone? Was Erica. She filed a report on her own son as a weapon. To get to me. I didn't rage. Didn't even call her out right away. I drove to the school Monday. Spoke to Mrs. Price myself. I explained everything. The divorce. The timing. The real reason Erica might be making a scene now. Mrs. Price nodded slowly. She'd seen it before. Then she said something that stuck. You seem calm, Mr. Martin. I am, I said. Because I already buried the bomb. She's just walking through the crater. That night, I confronted her. No drama. Just facts. I know you called the school. She blinked. I was worried about Mason. Don't lie. I wasn't lying. You used our kid as leverage. And you crossed a line. She folded her arms. You embarrassed me in front of the whole neighborhood, Greg. You humiliated me. No. I revealed you. That's different. She scoffed. You're acting like I murdered someone. You murdered trust. Which in a marriage? Kinda worse. She sat down. So what now? You gonna take full custody too? Make me the villain on every front? I paused. Erica, you are the villain. I just stopped editing your script. Silence. Then she started to cry. Not sobbing. Just leaking. I left her there. Because the one thing I'd learned? Tears don't equal change. And this time, I wasn't accepting apologies written in mascara. You'd think by now, she'd give up. But Erica was a lot of things: cheated, exposed, iced out by the HOA, and still, somehow, she thought she could spin it. Her final play? A letter. Handwritten. Folded on my pillow one Tuesday evening like some Hallmark epilogue. The envelope said, "For Greg, if you still believe in us." Spoiler, I didn't. But I read it anyway. Because closure isn't a conversation. It's a confirmation. Inside, she wrote about memory, and identity, and the mosaic of a marriage. She quoted Anna Karenina again, of course, and said what we had wasn't perfect, but it was real. Then, the last paragraph. If you're still willing, I'd like to propose a pause. Not a divorce. A separation. Let's take a month, live apart, reset. No lawyers. No bitterness. No public scenes. Just space. I'll move out for now. You can keep the house. The letter was neatly signed. Love, Erica. I folded it, placed it back on the pillow, and left it there. Unopened. Because I'd already set something else in motion. 2 days earlier, I'd met with my lawyer again. The papers were drafted. But I hadn't filed them yet. Because I was waiting. Not for her apology. That ship was buried under the lakehouse dock. I was waiting for confirmation on something bigger. See, Erica thought the slideshow was my revenge. The truth? It was just the opening scene. The real revenge started 3 months ago when I noticed something odd on our credit card statements. Repeated charges at a place called Lakeside Wellness and Coaching. $350 a pop. Sometimes twice a week. At first, I thought it was therapy. Self-care. Erica's ongoing quest for alignment or whatever. But the timing? It lined up with her book club nights. So, I dug. Turns out, Lakeside wasn't just a yoga place. It was a shell business. One registered, and here's the twist, under Wes Jamison's name. Not his realty firm. Not some LLC. This one was personal. And the coaching fees? Tax write-offs for private retreats. Retreats that Erica paid for. I printed everything. Bank statements. Registry filings. Business license. I even found one flyer, a grainy PDF advertising exclusive intimacy renewal sessions for discerning couples seeking rekindled connection. Guess who was the certified coach? Yep. Wes. Guess who was the photographer? Nina. The whole lakehouse setup? A business. A scam. Possibly fraud. And Erica? The client. Or the investor. I wasn't sure. But one thing was clear, she'd used our joint account to pay for it. Back to the letter. She left it. I let it sit for a full day. Then I placed my response in the same spot. A manila envelope. Inside? Divorce filing confirmation. Asset claim sheet. A cover letter that simply read, I read your note. Thank you. I'm moving forward. No pause. No retreat. Greg. Under that? A copy of the business license for Lakeside Wellness and Coaching, highlighted. And a post-it. This goes to the IRS Monday unless you sign. She found it at 7:14 a.m. I was in the kitchen making eggs. I heard her gasp like she'd swallowed a bee. Then footsteps. She stormed in holding the envelope. You've been investigating me? I calmly cracked an egg. Nope. I'd been protecting my finances. This is blackmail. No. This is leverage. You can't threaten me with this. I'm not. I'm giving you a choice, clean divorce or federal audit. Your call. She sank into a chair. No alimony, she asked. No alimony. She nodded, slow. The game was over. She moved out 3 days later. Not into Wes's place that had sold weeks ago. Claire got everything. Even the bonsai tree in the foyer. Erica got an Airbnb on the edge of town. One of those fake farmhouse studio lofts that influencers rent to take pictures of lattes and pretend they bake sourdough. She posted a selfie from the front porch with the caption, New beginnings start in strange places. Hashtag solo season, hashtag unwritten chapters. Comments were turned off. Of course. I didn't throw a party. Didn't celebrate. But that Friday night, Claire and I ran into each other again. Grocery store. Same freezer aisle. She looked at my cart. Saw the chicken pot pie. Smiled. Still surviving, I see. Thriving, I corrected. She nodded. Then handed me a bottle of wine. Try this instead. Pairs better with freedom. I raised an eyebrow. Is that an HOA regulation now? She grinned. Call it a community recommendation. Erica signed the final papers without drama. No courtroom. No fights. Just a notary, 2 pens, and the last of her illusions cracking like cheap crystal. And the twist? The IRS never needed the file. Because Erica emailed me 3 days after the signing. No subject. No greeting. Just a one-line message. Please delete the documents. I'm out. That was it. No goodbye. No closure. And honestly? It was perfect. Bramble Glen healed. Slowly. The HOA meetings returned to their usual levels of passive tension and casserole sign-up sheets. Claire was re-elected unanimously. Nina moved. Wes disappeared. And the book club? Rebooted. But this time? Real books. Real reading. New name, too. Unshackled Chapters. I got the invite accidentally. I laughed for 5 straight minutes. Now. I still walk Murphy. Still rake leaves. Still mow my own damn lawn. But every so often, I get a nod. From husbands. From wives. From people who saw what I did and thought, damn. That guy didn't just survive. He authored the ending. And yeah. I did. Because sometimes, the best revenge isn't loud. It's thorough. It's quiet. And it's permanent. The end.
Subscribe to the channel